Welcome to the quick start process. We're going to be galloping through all this, so hang on. And you'll probably want to view the other tutorials that are go into this a little bit more slowly. But we're going to go through the entire process, and actually some of this I didn't even cover in the tutorials. And I'm going to start out with this as kind of a maybe even a kind of tour of the whole thing. And then when you finish the tutorials, all the other tutorials, you may want to come back to this. So here we go. The first thing we're going to do is open up iMovie. Of course, this is already assuming that you've got your footage shot and organized into the files and folder structure, as I am going to outline in future sessions, or sessions that I hope you come to. So we're going to skip over those kind of details, and here we go. So open up iMovie, and we're going to let that load. So here, you know, this is, like I say, I've already done all the tutorials, and these are the projects that I already have, that I use for the tutorials. You can see they're on Richmond. That's the external hard drive I'm using. Let me point out this button here. If you toggle this button, it toggles between just showing what, just hard drives, and you can twirl these down and see your events in the event library, and these are the different events as they that I already have going. This is a handy button to know. I didn't cover that, but anyway, there we go. Toggle that back and forth, and then these are all the projects. Now I don't want all, and I'm going to collapse these. But I don't really want all these projects cluttering up what we're about to do. So let me show you a little trick that I didn't cover in the tutorials. Right now I am going to close iMovie out. And here's my hard drive that I have everything stored on. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. This is my file structure, which I will outline in the upcoming tutorials. Now this is something I just added, but this is something you can do, and this might make it easier on your computer. You remember all the events and projects that we had there? Well, here they are, and just where they're supposed to be, just like I'm going to outline. I'm not going to go into detail, but I don't want all of this stuff on my on what we're going to gallop through now. So I'm going to take these off. These are events, so I'm going to put them in previous events. I'm going to move that whole folder right there. So boom, there they are. They're just moved. That's it. And I'm not going to bother with the Dropbox. I'm not going to worry about it. And so let's put this back there too. So now all I have is a Dropbox, which is something else that you can look into that on your own. Projects the same way. I'm going to take all these old projects that I've constructed. I'm going to put them in previous projects. Boom, they're stored there. But since iMovie operates on the linking principle, which I'll go into in future sessions, it's not going to be able to find that. We're going to show you that. And let's take a look here real quick. There's nothing in my events except the Dropbox. That's something else you'll look into your own. It's like a temporary storage thing. And projects, see, it's empty. So I'm going to close out this, and it's very important before you do something like that you close iMovie. That'll create all sorts of interesting problems that, believe me, you don't want to deal with. So I'm going to open iMovie again, and look at the difference. Now we have, there's nothing there. It's actually there. I just moved it. Okay, so that's great. Now here we go. When we open iMovie, as you recall, you want to set your preferences, and there's three parts. One is in the general, show advanced tools. This is already checked because I've already done it. Two, in your browser, you always want to show fine-tuning controls. Check that. Close out that. And three, just because I don't like to see timelines up top, we're going to switch that around. Now it already was switched, but that's how you do it. Here's your timeline, or projects will be up there, but it really should be down here. So that's number three. Okay, And the next thing we're going to do is import our media. We're always going to make sure we import it to our external hard drive. In this case, I'm using Richmond. Richmond is my external hard drive. So File, Import Movies. I already have my file structure set up. I'm not going to go into that. Again, we're galloping through this. And where is it going to be? Where are all my media? Where are my media folders going to be? They're going to be on my dedicated hard drive, which I'm carrying around with me to whichever computer will have iMovie, and it has to be iMovie 9.0.8. If you upgrade, like I say, to iMovie 10, you cannot go back, so you must keep that in mind. So I already have this set up. We just looked at that actually when we moved the events and projects, but it's going to be in my media folder. And here we go, and I have set this up appropriately. I've got my video, my stills, and drafts, which are going to be for outputting, and my audio. So right now I'm importing video, and I'm going to select some that I've already pre-labeled. Now let me just say, on the flip cams, it's going to come up, it's very easy. They come in just like this. This is exactly what they'll look like. But I've taken the opportunity here to name these because I don't want to go searching for things. You know, every little bit of time adds up. So I know that I want, let's see, I'm going to preview, let's see, that's 45 seconds, that's 7 minutes, a bit too long. This one's about 5 minutes, so I'm going to take this one, John 3, so I know that. I'm also going to be taking one of these down here, which I did not pre-label. So, you know, that's bad. You should pre-label that. So I'm going to take one of those. So I'm going to take John 3 to select clips out of sequence. You're going to hold down the command and select. I also want to take this B-roll, which I know I want. So I'm going to take that. I'm holding down the command and click and see how that can select different clips. And also I'm going to take, well, I'll just take these. Well, here's another bit of B-roll right here. We'll take that too. So we got 4 clips we're going to import. Wait a minute. We don't want to save it to the hard drive. We're going to save it to our external drive that we have. There are no existing events, so you see it's not going to allow you to do that. So we have to create a new event down here. We're going to call this, we're going to call this Quickstart. Quickstart. We'll just call it Quickstart. Leave this to the default at optimize video. Just leave that, and copy files. Yeah. So here we go. We're going to import this. This can take a while. I've deliberately chosen clips that are short. And you see it's optimizing the video up here. It's going to create an event here in a minute that's going to save to Richmond. We don't see it yet, but we will. They're all going to appear in here. It's optimizing video. It goes through these steps. The last steps are going to be creating the thumbnails. The thumbnails are important because that's what you're going to see in this window that you're going to use for selecting your video. So this is real time. I'm not sure, I might do a cut here. We'll see how long this takes. A lot of this depends on the type of video that you import. Good. It's generating the thumbnails, and that's absolutely necessary. So you can see what footage to select up here, and we're going to go through that. We're galloping through this, so I'm not going to provide a whole lot of detail of what I'm doing. We're just going to do it. And here we go. Still generating the thumbnails. By the way, I have a pretty fast computer, so this could take a bit of extra time depending on the computer that you have. So here we go. These are the clips that we imported. We've got the one. There's our B-roll. Here's our second interview. And here's our second B-roll. B-roll is important because it provides a relief from the talking head situation. I've got my audio skimming on, as you can hear. Also take a look at it says created Monday, September 14th, and you can turn that off. That's just a tooltip that tells you when it's created. So to do that, and by the way, we're going to kill two birds with one stone here. If you don't want to hear audio skimming, it's in the same place here. We're going to go to View, and I'm going to turn off Playhead Info. You see we don't have that up on the mouse now. And also audio skimming, the shortcut is Command K. It's a good idea to memorize these shortcuts. It'll save you some time. Audio skimming, I'm going to turn that off, and now we don't hear anything. However, that being said, audio skimming is pretty much the only way you're going to be able to pinpoint what your start and stop times for selecting clips to create and build your project, which we're going to make in just a second. It's pretty much the only way, because there's no real visual reference, just it kind of all looks alike, which is one of the problems with interview situations with talking head. The B-roll, that's easy. You can actually just take a look and visually decide where your stop and start points are. So there we go. So number three, the next thing you're going to do is we're going to create the project, the actual project. Now, there's several ways that you can create your project, and it's up to you. I like to go with things that don't cause me to have to go back and repeat work. Above all, that's one thing I don't want to do. So here you can see there's no projects on our Richmond, which is our external drive. So here we go. We're going to highlight it, and we're going to press the plus, and now we're going to get a new project. We're going to call this the same thing. We're going to call this Quickstart. And we're going to use the direct selection method for our thumbnails. Leave all of this as it is. Don't change anything. And you'll see these themes in here. Leave it as no themes. This inserts all sorts of transitions and all that are related to each theme. We're just not going to do that. So Quick Start is our project. Create, and now look at this. We have a brand new project. Toggle back and forth here, and we see now in Richmond we have a project. It's empty. So we're going to double click that and open that up again. So here's method number one for creating the whole shebang. You can use a direct selection method, and let's do that. To do that, we have to do two things. We're going to have to go back up here in the view and turn on audio skimming, or Command K. So now we have our our audio scrubbing on. And if I click in here, well, first of all, if you're going to do this method, let's go ahead and toggle your audio waveforms on. This does give you a sort of a visual. Basically, where there's peaks are people talking, where there's no peaks or flat, that there's nobody talking. An excellent place to start and stop. The drawback, there's lots of features that I wish iMovie had, but then it wouldn't be iMovie, it'd be something you had to pay for. So, but it doesn't really, in the whole grand scheme of this clip, there's no way to tell where you are numerically. In other words, what is this? Is this at 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute? There's no way to tell, and that's the primary way that you pick clips in other editing, I guess more professional editing programs. You're going to start at 2 minutes and 58 seconds, end at 3 minutes, that sort of thing. There's no way to do that in iMovie, so that's why we're going to do a workaround that I'm going to show you in a minute. It tells you the duration of your clip, great, but it doesn't tell you where to start and stop. So that's going to generate these workarounds that I'm doing here. If you click, just click in here, it's going to select 5 seconds. It just selects 5 seconds. This is a selection, this big yellow border. I'm going to turn off the audio skimming here by pressing the Command K, just for a minute here. Now it gives you a start. This is just it's in the presets, and it gives you a start and stop time, and that's great. You can extend the end time if you want. And this is a direct selection method. At this point, I can get it on the timeline. I'm not going to pinpoint the exact start and stop time. You can't move the selection around. That'd be nice. You can by just dragging. This is your in point, and this is your out point. It's telling me that selection is 7.1 seconds. So I'm going to get it down to my timeline by just literally dragging it down there. Okay, that's one way. And you should know that Command Z, I'm pressing Command Z now, undoes. It's called undo. And you can undo in iMovie all the way back to the time that you open in that particular session that day. Each time you close it, it saves. By the way, there's no way to just save your work. It dynamically saves it for you. Okay, so we have our selection up here. And another way, and my favorite way, is to press the E button. The E key on your keyboard, and it does the same thing. I believe that's much faster. So I'm going to just deselect that by clicking out of there. And you'll see that this orange bar is telling me that selection that we just did is now down on my timeline. Okay, here's another interesting. If I just click on that orange bar, it also selects it. That's a handy thing to know. Okay, now if I delete this, watch what happens to my orange bar. It's going to go away. There's nothing on there. This is non-destructive editing, as we'll go into in future sessions, but it means that basically I didn't delete anything. Your original files are completely unharmed back in our media folder that is living on Richmond, which is our external hard drive. Okay, now let's just say you want to go the direct selection method, and again, this could be, I wouldn't do it this way just because there's it all looks alike and there's no way to tell where you were. But if you wanted to do it that way, you can. And we've got our audio waveforms. Let's just say, okay, here's where we want to start. I'm going to turn scrubbing back on by Command K. I say, okay, I'm going to start here. Okay, not there. That's direct selection for the audio. When you have audio waveforms turned on, you can do that, but we want the whole thing. So there's our start point, in which we can adjust a bit just by scrubbing. Okay, what about the end point? I'm going to press the space bar, and it's going to play through there. Okay, I'm going to stop by pressing the space bar. Now you notice the instant I move this mouse, that thing jumps back to the mouse, and that's one of the annoying things. But we say, okay, this is about where I wanted it, and you can do two ways here. You can drag it, okay? If you didn't want to drag it, and you say this is where I want to do it, I'm going to press the Shift and click, and that extends it right to there. So I say, okay, maybe it's down this far. Okay, I'm going to press Shift. I'm holding the Shift down and click. Look at that, it selected the whole thing. So there you go, and that's one way you could do this, and that's just repeat. I'm going to press the E to get it down there. Now we might as well go ahead and do this. This is how do you label this? We're going to label it by because they're all going to look alike. Right? Let's do another one, and let's just go down a little bit further here. I'm going to just do one real quick. Again, I just select up there. And let's go down at maybe right to here. Shift, click, there we E, down there. Okay, these look alike. No, I can't tell them apart. So we're going to label. Here we go. We're going to use our comment function here, and it's this button. And I'm dragging. I'm clicking and dragging, and I'm going to associate it with this clip. Put it in there. Let go. And now I have this label, which I can double click in there and just call it, let's see, how about this, goes to Gainesville. Okay, so now I have a great label, and you keep on, do you see the principle here? You just keep on, here's another one. It's already highlighted, so I'm going to just say, okay, return. to engage that. And there we go. Awesome. That'll follow it around. Let's do one more clip down here, and let's do it in this other interview. And I'm going to click there. Whoops, up here. And maybe right down to here. So I'm shift clicking and select E always appends. In other words, goes to the end. So that's great. So here I'm going to say I clicked and then dragged that comment label in there, that marker, and now I'm going to label this. You know, anything went to college. So creative here. Okay, so we still have, you can hear we have our audio scrubbing still on. I'm going to turn that off by how? Command K. It gets annoying after a while, trust me, scrubbing in your ear. So how do we, okay, and that's one way, and let me just put this out there. If you want to move these clips around, so easy in iMovie. I'm clicking and I see the whole thing is selected. See how it turned into the hand tool? Just grab it, move it right on there, and boom. Now I'll play through that. Okay, and you see that it moved that clip in there, no problem. And you see the whole principle of that as it goes along. And by the way, take a look here. As I'm mousing over each clip, you'll notice that all of those fancy advanced tools that we enabled at when we set our preferences, now you can see where they are. And this is awesome because this gives you all kinds of things that you can do. I'm not going to go into each one of those in detail. That's for later session. So if you see now, look at this one over here. Every time I mouse over, they're available. These little boxes here at the beginning and the end, these arrows, if you click on that and the edges of that turn orange, while you can advance that clip out. You see, look what's happening up here. Watch when I do that. I'm going to click that arrow, grab that little handle and move it out. You see how it's extending or subtracting. You have the ability to fine-tune the edge of your clip 1 second, and a lot of times that's enough. Sometimes you want to do more drastic, and we're gonna do that in a minute. Okay, there's the direct selection method of building your primary timeline by just going up here and using the direct selection method. Now that's one way, and you can certainly do that, but again, the big huge drawback is you just have no idea where you are on this thing. Now again, if I click the orange bar, you know, it selects that out, and it's also telling me that that particular selection is now on this timeline, and back up here too. And as you'll find out in future sessions, the only thing that's going to show up in this window, which is your event library, the only thing is going to be imported video, period. Yeah, so the stills and the audio are going to be down here in these bins. We'll go over this coming up shortly, but this is going to be the gallop through, so it's going to be long, but we're going to cover everything. Okay, great. So I'm going to go back to my project library, and there's our Quickstart project. And that was the direct selection method of creating your project. And that, you know, we're not going to build the entire project that way, because we're going to build it the second way with all our stills and added audio. But right now I'm going to delete this project, and here's all you have to do. I'm going to press delete, or I'm going to highlight it, and now I'm going to click. I'm going to hold down the control and click, and it gives me the drop-down menu. And although you can't see this, I'm going to insert this, but it's at the very bottom. It says move project to trash. Well, here, maybe I'm going to scrunch this up a bit. Here we go. Let's see if I can scrunch up iMovie. Here we go, because I want you to see this. Okay, it's already highlighted, and I'm holding down the control, click, move project to trash. Boom, it's gone. And nothing's really gone. It's just the reference to the files that are on your external hard drive. So let's put iMovie back where it was. There we go, fitting in our window. Okay, the project, and you see what happened here. All of our orange bars disappeared too. There's nothing in this clip is on any timeline anywhere. Okay, number two, and this is what I think I personally would do, but that's up to you. Number two, create another project on Richmond. Here we go. How do we do this? We highlight the hard drive, click the plus. Now we're going to name this John's Clips, and that's because he's one of the interviewee clips. So create, there it is. So let's go back up to John. This is John's Clips. To select every bit of the entire clip, and this could be as long as 40 minutes, or or it could be, I don't know, whatever you, however long it was, and it could be several clips, by the way. And you might want to, and if you every time you start and stop the camera, you're going to get a clip, and that's fine. You can actually just append those. You can make one long interview if you want, or you can divide it up into projects. But you'll see how this is organized, and you can decide yourself. So I'm going to click up here, but I'm going to hold down my control key again, and I am going to select entire clip. Okay, the whole clip is selected, and now I'm going to press the letter E, and that whole sequence, or it's a clip, has gone down to my project. But here's the reason that I think this would be useful. Your timeline or project actually does have where you are in your clip. This, which is the interview clip, it could be, like I say, pretty long. And that is the one thing that we don't have up here. So if you wanted to make a log of where these clips are, this is how you could do it. And down here, we're going to show you how to use the comment or the label procedure that we used in the direct selection method. And we're going to use it down here. Okay, now I'm going to turn audio scrubbing on. How do I do that? Command K. So we're going to need that. Okay, play in the space bar. I'm going to just play the space bar here.
También vivía mi hermana.
Okay, so let's just say that's where we want to start. Well, how do we, how are we going to do this now? This is one long giant clip. Well, we're going to split the clip, and here we go. We're going to select the clip, and now I'm going to hold the control and split clip. Okay, and there's our nice little split. And it actually is doing kind of the same thing that we've done up here with the direct selection method. The only thing is, this is all now going to be beautifully laid out, and we can tell where we are. So, and you're going to keep on doing this. This is how you do the whole thing. So if I wanted to split it right there, okay, select, command, and command click, and split clip, boom. By the way, if I said, oops, I didn't want to split it there, Command Z, or if you noticed, there's also a join clip there too, so you can do that. So I'm going to split that clip again right there where nobody's talking. You can see because, there's a flat line there, whereas right next to that peak. And by the way, here's the toggle for your projects showing your audio waveforms. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to select split clip. Okay, so you're going to see, and I'm going to do one more just real quick here. And you can log these. See, it's telling you where all these things are. That's awesome. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 135. You can zoom in and out of your timeline or project by this little slider. Just play around with that. You can also go to the beginning and end with this slider. There you go. I didn't show you that before. Let's go back to the playhead. And I am going to, let's see, just so we can keep it in a window. Right here, split clip. There we go. Okay, so we've got three splits here, and let's just say, okay, I didn't really want that part, but I do want this one. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put my comment right in there, and it's going to you label that, or clicking on that, and so here we go. Yeah, so there we go, and it's associated. You can move that around. Yeah, you can move it over there for that matter. But now, if you were to pick this clip up and move it there, which you can do, why that comment label follows it, and now we have that. Let's make a shorter one. We can see this a little bit better. I'm going to split the clip again. That's a little bit out of the frame. Associate this with this. I think I misspelled learn, but you get the idea. And return that. Okay, well, we'll just, there, how about that? Return. So let's move learned English. I think I'd rather put learned English in front of there. So I'm selecting this whole clip, see how it turned, and now I'm going to move this over here, and you see it followed along. So this is a beautiful way to keep track of what your clips are. Okay, great. So let's go back, and we're going to do another one here. We're going to create another project. I'm doing it fast now, so, and we're going to call this other one's Angela's. And that is the other interview that we have. It's empty. And here she is down here. I don't know if they'll have two interviews. Okay, audio scribbing is still on up there. But that's okay. I'm going to click, and now I'm going to do the control click, select entire clip, E. See where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, okay. Doing a bunch of copying and pasting in a minute here. So I'm going to just right there and split the clip, control, split clip, label. Watch out for and keep these labels to go to school. I don't know. And so on and so forth. I'll just make another split here. Control, split clip. And let's do a little one here. Yes, I got these splits. And I'm not going to bother label all these in the interest of time. Okay, so great. So we've got this. Let's look at our project library and see what we've got. We've got two projects going on here. Angela's and John's clips. Okay. So we say, okay, great. That's great. I've gone through. I've labeled my clips. So how do I want to make a final timeline now. I'm starting to build my final. Here we go. Our final timeline that we're building our final project. So there's two ways. You can take, you can do another project, and that's fine. Or it's kind of the same result here. You could just, well, I tell you, it might be safer to do that. So let's do that. Let's go back on Richmond. Remember, highlight the hard drive you want, plus. So let's call this Quick Start Final. Oops. There we go. And enter, create, leaving all that default. Boom, there we go. So here's our new Quick Start Final. Okay, so how are we going to get all of these back on there? Simple. Here we go. Let's just say, okay, here we go. Oh, I want this one. I definitely want this one, so I'm going to highlight, and now I'm going to copy by either Command C, or we can hold the control down and then just hit copy. You see where this is going, right? I'm going back to my final. Now I'm going to paste that in there by either Command V, or we're going to hold the control down or paste. There we go. Well, you notice the comment didn't come, so you're going to have to put that in there again. I'm so sorry. That's just the way it is. So whatever. I don't remember what that was. So don't forget to do that. So here we go. Oops. Okay, that's good for him. And what about her? Okay, again, here we go. I'm going to highlight this one, decided to go to school. Command C, or just hold down the control and do copy. Let's go back to your project library and to the final. And I'm going to paste this in here, Command V, or Control Paste. Okay, let me show you what happened there. So you need to watch out for where I put that playhead. You see what happened? Wherever that playhead was, well, it just inserted that in there and moved wherever it was in there, it just cut that off. So you had to be careful to paste at the end. So I'm going to do Command Z, which is going to undo. And now you see my playhead is there, and I'm just going to click in here and do Control Paste or Command V. And there we have it. And build, build, build. And don't forget to put your label in there because it's not going to follow. Unfortunately, you can't do multiple selections in this way. Yeah, don't forget that because that can be very, you'll forget all these things. Or it's up to you. Okay, great. So let's just say this is the way we've done it. Let's go back here. Now you can choose to eliminate these if you feel confident that you you don't need these anymore. You can eliminate those, or maybe you can just move them. And a way to hide iMovie if you just don't want to, if it's in your way, it is you can just do iMovie and hide iMovie or Command H. And remember, you can put these in the previous events and projects and just to keep the program from opening up every last one of them. And the only way you can get away with this is it's on your dedicated hard drive. We couldn't do this last semester because everybody was on one shared drive. So we couldn't do this. It slowed down the works. So I'm going to close this out. But that's up to you, and it'd be a good idea not to delete all that work that you've done. Never delete work that you might come back and need. So I'm going to do the Command H again to get. I'm sorry. You have to do Command Tab and look down here, and there we go. So iMovie's back. So let's just say we've got our final build here. We're galloping along, as I said. When we did our selections up there, we didn't get our edges just exactly right. And remember, we can click on this, and that gives you 1 second. You can either go back and forth, and to be honest with you, that's probably enough for mostly. I just increased it a little, and you can keep going by 1 second increments too. So or backwards or forward, kind of fine tuning. But here's a really cool thing that iMovie does, and that is if you click, and this is your cut area, and we've got well, we need to put some more cuts in here. I'm going to just split. I'm just going to, in the interest of time, I'm just going to split some of these clips so we'll have things to work with here. So here we go. I'm just splitting these clips real quick. Okay, and I guess we probably should put a little bit more up there. I'm just this is in no way no way giving thoughtful attention to these cuts, but it's just for having something to work with. Now you see, I can't click in here and drag the edge of that like I'd like to. And matter of fact, iMovie 10, you can do that. Well, that's a tremendous improvement. But here's what you can do: click in between there, and what this does, it brings out the precision editor. So where this playhead is right now, here it is. Okay, and before we delve into that too much. If you just do the advanced arrow, show next edit, which would happen? See, it goes down there. And you can maneuver around this way. This is pretty cool. This is your outgoing clip, right, which corresponds to the top, and your incoming clip, which corresponds to the bottom. In this case, there was no more. This really was the beginning of this clip. So there's nothing more we can do. We can't drag it to the right anymore because there's no media. But let's just say, okay, and we're going to need our audio scrubbing on just to hear it. There's no way to see this, so you have to. Let's see if there is. No, Well, all it did was it just I don't know what that did, but it didn't show me. Well, let's see. Oh yeah, so there is, so there is. So I'm, and you know I missed that in future tutorials. So this is you just picked up something I didn't know. So all I did was I turned on the audio scrubbing up here, and I'm going to drag that right about there. See, I don't want to start where he's talking. So there we go. Pooh, I just really fine-tuned that bottom one. Okay, now here's the incoming clip. Right there, awesome. Um, and now I have totally fine-tuned these two where they join. By the way, this smooths both the top and the bottom at the very in other words, the outgoing and the incoming at the very same time. That's useful in some situations. You'll have to decide for yourself if that's useful for your particular need. So I'm going to the next edit, and you see how great this is. This is awesome. Same thing, I'm going to just drag this. And you can also take a look in this window and see if that's the movement. Okay, she's not really talking there. Okay, that's a good movement to stop on. Okay, what about to start on down here? Okay. Maybe I want to go all the way over here. I don't know. There we go. Okay, I like that. And let's go to the next. You see, this is the end. So it's you know, you're not gonna, this is the last edit that you can deal with here. Dragging. Okay, very cool. And I'm dragging this. And you know you can go by movement or sound. It's really cool. It's a very powerful feature that iMovie has. And so you're done, and boom, you've just fine-tuned all those clips, just like magic. Okay, here's something else that I'm going to point out, and remember, this is our final. This is going to be our clips in order and fine-tuned, and now we're going to start building all the bells and whistles, which are the audio stills and all. So here we go. How do I find this clip in here? You know, I just want to find this particular selection. So I'm going to highlight it, and now I'm going to hold down the control, and it's down near the bottom. I'm going to insert this in, but it says reveal in event browser, and I'm going to click that. So it's now it is revealing that. There we go. See how it's selected? This clip is telling you, oh, here it is. Here it is. So that, you know, that might be useful in some circumstances. Okay, wonderful. So we've got, that's a great tool to know. So here's our final clip structure for our basic, I guess, program or movie without, you know, inserting the B-roll and all that. So let's do that right now. Let's start inserting our B-roll and stills, because what we have here is a situation. I'm going to play through this. And, what we have here are jump cut situations, which are distracting to the viewer. So you would want to cover that up with some sort of still image. So here we go. I'm going to hide iMovie by Command H, and we're going to take a look at our hard drive here that we have our media all set up. I'm not going to go into that. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add stills. Now you can literally just situate these windows so that you can drag this in there, and that's possible, or you can do it the other way, which I'm not going to go into because it's all covered in the other tutorials, which is dragging this still into the bin. And so I'm going to, and that goes with the audio as well. So audio and stills you can't do it with video. That has to be imported. So I'm going to close this out, and we're going to go back to iMovie Command Tab, and that toggles it over. So I have set it up. And like you'll see in previous tutorials, this is how you get your stills in there. Like I say, you can situate your hard drive so that you know you can have your folder over here, and you can literally just select the image and drag it in there. Or you can do it this fancy way, which I've showed you in future tutorials, which is I've already you don't want to store things in iPhoto or iTunes, which is how iMovie likes things. But because iPhoto and iTunes are not going to be following you around, your external hard drive will. So I've already done this, and you need to this is the structure, but I'm not going to show you that right now. And to do that, you're going to have to drag this in and just associate it with a clip. You have to associate it with a clip. Or you could drag it in there in the middle. But let's do it this way. I'm going to associate it with a clip, and it's going to ask me, because we enabled our fine-tuning controls earlier. It wouldn't do this if you didn't do that in the very first thing you did. So we're going to do a cutaway, and you can do these. You can do the cutaway or picture-in-picture, replace. I mean, side by side even. Now the green screen and blue screen, I wouldn't mess with that at this point. That's something you can play with. It's certainly fun, but that's something that you don't want to mess with right now. So let's do a cutaway, which is standard, and what that is it just inserts the image over what's being said, or any other image that's there. So here we go. So let's play that through real quick, and you'll see that jump cut, and now we have that. That's a lot nicer. And I'm not going to I'm going to do this real fast, but at this point you can see that just jump. There's no real. It's too abrupt, so you really want that to fade in. And to do that, just click on the gear icon here, or you can double click the clip. Either way, it's telling me that I don't have a fade. It says none, but just put the manual here. It's got half a second, which is okay. And you can change that in opacity. I mean, you can play around with all these. Certainly I encourage you to play around with all that. So I'm going to click done, and I'm going to play through again and watch what happens. We have a nice, beautiful fade in, and you can see that as I played through, it covered that up. This is grayed out a bit. It's telling you what it will gray. I'm going to hit Command K now to get rid of that audio skimming. You can see I can drag that around. I can drag it to another one if I want to. So, and I can also change the duration, which would be lovely to do with your video by just dragging the edges, but you can do that. But we've got those nice workarounds. And here it's telling me that this is a 5.9 second clip. Usually these stills don't you get them too long, they're just too long to look at. Unless they have some animation. The animation I'm not going to go into here. That is covered in future tutorials. So you can animate these stills, certainly, but this is the best way, the quickest way to get them in there. Here's another one. I'm going to just associate it with this clip again, and it's going to ask me, what do I want to do? Cutaway is the most common, and there we have another cutaway, and so on and so forth. Okay, and you see we got that beautiful cutaway there, which is great if this relates to something she's talking about, or even not covering up. So, and again, you can do the transition edges, which is just the fade in and fade out. Okay, and so there you go. And titles. Let's do titles real quick. Again, titles. At this point, you want to start putting those in there. We're going to do our translation titles or subtitling. It's sort of at the end, and I'll show you why coming up. Hopefully I can gallop a little faster here. I know this is taking a while. So let's just put this is just a regular centered title. I'm going to drag it. You have to associate it with a clip if you want it to go on top of what is being said. But if you want it to just be by itself, you can put it in the middle. If you let's do these both real quick. If you put it on the top, that's fine, and I'm not going to go through all of the ways to format these titles, but you can see that it went on top there nicely, and I can shorten the duration and all. I can even move that around so that it's playing on both of these at the same time. That's awesome, and I can move that around. One thing you cannot do is let's put this in again, and yeah, I can put two titles there. Oh, actually, I don't think it did. I think let's see if I can say. Okay, so I'm going to put this in again. Okay, now watch what see how that uh, it's turning blue there underneath where it's going to go. So you see the if I let it go here, it's already there. So it's it doesn't you can't overlap titles. But here's what you can do. See how okay if I did it there, it already knows there's a title. It's not going to put two. But you could put them side by side. You see how that blue comes up, and now we've got this. But you can't, I cannot, I'm trying, but I cannot drag this title over there. So that's something to consider. I'm going to delete this right now by just highlight and delete. The other thing, I'm going to highlight this and delete it too, just to get it out of the way. So here we go. And that's something to really, really think about when we're doing our subtitles, which is coming up very shortly. So I'm going to put this is a good title to use just for information because you can format it. I'll put it in the middle, which is fine. It's going to be its own selection, but it must have a background. So here's where you're going to choose a background. I'm going to just choose like this. This is pretty cool. It's like a fabric, and so there we go. And I'm going to play through that, and I'm not going to show you how to format the text. That's going to be in future tutorials. This is just a quick, and you notice that there's no audio under there, so that's something and that's addressed in future tutorials as well. You could actually just put a bumper audio, which is just a music bit under there, and that would be a way to introduce some sort of segment. So here we go. So you can see that you had to have the title with a background, and the background could be your clip. And by the way, we imported some B-roll, if you recall, up here. Here's a little bit. So I'm going to just use the direct selection method. And take a look, there's no audio with that too, by the way. So just use this is where you say, okay, right where he puts his hand down and pulls that up. That's where I want it to end. And but you can't just use the letter E now because it'll put it at the end. So you're going to have to drag this down and associate that with this clip. And it's going to say, what do you want to do? Okay, we don't want to replace, it would replace, but we want to do a cutaway. And so now, this is cool, play this through. And there we go. If it did have audio, you'd have to literally, you see this bar, I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining this, but you could drag the bar up and down if this had it, and because you really, you don't want two conflicting audios going on there. So there we go, and that's how you do that. You can also double click this and put a fade on there. It doesn't have one now, and explore these. This is going to be quick, and so when I play this through, we have a nice, beautiful fade in there. That's awesome. You can also drag this around, and ironically, you can drag the duration of these clips up here. I don't know why they don't allow you, why didn't they just throw that little bone to it so we could drag the edge of these clips manually. And you can put that around. Okay, and then the audio the same way. I'm not going to go into that, but at this point, you may want to put little bumpers of audio, like right here. We had. I'm going to just. You see, this one's only a short one, so we'll put this one down here. And I'm going to associate it with this clip right here. And it doesn't really matter because you can drag that around. Audio always comes in real loud, remember, and so you always have to adjust the volume way, way, way down on that. And I'm going to shorten it, but not at the end because it's got that sounds like a nice audio ending on that beat there. So but I am going to drag the beginning of that, if I can grab it here, just so we'll have it. Then I'm going to drag the clip over here, and you can see where it fades out. Maybe you want to start that a little sooner. And remember the little dots, that's a manual fade in it. So when I play this through, and you get the idea how that works. Okay, so we've got all and I'm not going to go through every little bit that you can do with these things because that's in the expanded tutorials. So here we go, and presumably you'll have a title at the beginning and so on. So let's just say, okay, I'm ready for my subtitles now. Ready for my subtitle. Okay, now you could drag, and here's your titling. I'm not going to show you how to format these, but this is this. I think we decided this is the one we want. I'm going to associate this title with this first clip by just dragging it on there. This is our first subtitle that we're doing. I'm going to format this one just like I like it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time explaining what I'm doing here. But you remember we have various ways that we can format the titles and so on and so forth. And I don't know if I can put the Y in there. Well, that would only make him 12. We better put 10 years. How about that? Okay. And I'm not going to go through all the various formatting things and all, but let's just say this is, and I'm going to make this a little bit, I have to select that and make it, I'm not going to, okay, I make that smaller. There we go. To the outline a little bit. Okay, and I'm not, sorry, I think there's a for subtitle. Okay, and we like this, so we're going to go down here to this next clip, and I'm going to hit the control, and it doesn't, I'm going to insert this over, but it's because it's outside of our, what we can see, but it says duplicate last title. So there it is, and now all we have to do is, actually, what it did was it duplicated this title here. So, that's something to consider. So we're going to have to, unfortunately, we're going to have to put, let's see, okay, it kind of works, but it saves you a little bit. So you're actually going to have to format this out again. So I'm going to just hit done here. I'm going to get rid of this title by hitting delete, and then I'm going to have to just do this one again. So. So there's a, there's definitely problems with iMovie, but I'm going to reformat all this again. But let's see, real quick here, get that over there, and I'm going to hit done here again, and let's see if this will work here. I'm going to just select all that, Command C. It's just copy and paste, and hit done. Don't forget, for goodness sakes, don't forget done. I'm going to do Command V to, there we go. So we didn't have to do quite everything, but there we go. So there's that one. So this clip, same thing. I'm going to do Control, duplicate last title, and so that was the idea. Each one of these things that require subtitling, and I would just change what I wanted to say in there and done. So let's just split this up. I've gone through and I've made all these splits where I want to, I'm looking for like natural pauses and things, because you don't want more than 2 lines, 3 lines really. And so I'm going to duplicate, highlight, duplicate last title, and that's what I'm looking for here. And so at this point, you're going to say, change the text here. And so on and so forth, and done. Now, if you do, we found out that if we did have a title like this, when it says duplicate last title, well, it's going to do this one before. So that's something to keep in mind. But it will save you, making your splits and all. This will save you some time anyway. Okay, and And one of the last things you do is adjust your audio. We're almost done here. Hang on, I know it's been really, really long and not that quick of a start, is it? While you have your audio forms selected, you're going to just select this and say, okay, well, here, like this. This looks, you can just look here and say, okay, that's a bit loud. I'm going to selectively lower that, and you can see, and that's sort of like the last thing you do. And again, you're going to pay attention to your levels over here rather than your headphone volume, because that's not accurate, and that's covered in the future tutorials. Okay, and the final thing is we've got all of our subtitles in. We've got our titles, our beginning titles, and the last thing we do is share, export movie. And if it is the final, we're going to go down to this HD 720, which will give us a nice, beautiful resolution. If it is drafts, we're going to just take like a medium would be fine. This one is just too small to see titling. But this, and we're going to put it in our drafts. Well, you can just put it in just all movies in general. But you definitely want to, label this and make sure it goes in the right place. At this point, I would hit export, and we'd have a movie. It would be an M4V, which is generally pretty widely playable on Mac or PC. At that point, we'd be done. I'm going to cancel that out. So there we go. The quick start, not so quick, so sorry to say. But hopefully you persevered and stuck through all of this. Look for the more expanded explanations of titling and that sort of thing in future in the upcoming sessions. Thank you.